So how does an Amazon Basics notebook stack up against a Moleskine notebook? Let's talk about it. First off, a disclaimer. Your mileage may vary. These are just my opinions on two notebooks that I use pretty regularly. This is the Moleskine. I use this one probably every day. This is my life tracker journal. I do have a video on this if you want to check that out for more information. This is the Amazon Basics one. I use this one on a weekly basis for my budget, maybe bi-weekly. So it doesn't get used quite as frequently, but we'll get into that. So both of these are 5 by 8.25, both hardcover, both very similar. You can tell the Amazon Basics is a copycat of this and other notebooks similar to it, to try and cut into that market share there. Both have the elastic straps. They seem pretty similar. This one is a little more worn out. I don't know if that's typical or because it gets more use. They both have this back pocket here for whatever. I don't use mine, but they're both there. Both mine are grid. I prefer grid. Quality-wise, I think this Amazon Basics notebook is definitely a step down than the Moleskine notebook. This just feels cheaper. It's not as comfy in the hands. It doesn't get me excited to pick it up and write. Some of the corners just don't feel off. I don't know if it's quality control or what, but the binding's already damaged on this, and this one doesn't get. It sits on a bookshelf most of the time, so it could be because how I pull it on and off the bookshelf, it's ripped. But this one gets used daily, and it's in and out of bags and on counters, and getting used quite a bit. And it's holding up pretty well. So I definitely think the Moleskine wins for quality and build. Paper-wise, the Moleskine here, I think, has a better paper overall. I don't know all the fancy measurements. That's out of my wheelhouse, but just to the naked eye and someone who uses them, it feels better. This Amazon Basics notebook, the paper is just a little rough. It's not as smooth. The grid's definitely darker also. Let's see if I can get these open here. Right. We'll get into a pen test here in a second, but the grid's a little darker. The papers are a little different color, both a little off yellow, ivory color. This one does seem a little bit lighter, but yeah, the grid's a little bit harsher on this, which some people might like, some people might not. I prefer the lighter grid here. I don't need a dark grid. It just kind of helps organize things a little bit. It does feel thicker on the Amazon Basics though, and actually, as you can see kind of here on the Moleskine, I think there's less bleed on the Amazon Basics. Now these are the exact same tests. I just wrote the alphabet here in both, and there's a little outline there, but same tests. This top part is actually with a fountain pen. I did a video on that one. It's this fountain pen, another Amazon special here. With this one for here, and this bottom part is with my Pentel Energel, which is what I use most often. Really like these pens. But anyways, so yeah, as you can see on this Amazon Basics one, neither one bled through. The fountain pen did take a while to dry, and that's why it's kind of rubbed off on this other side here. But as for bleed through and feathering, there's not a ton there. Now that is a fine nib, so and mileage may vary on that, again, depending on what pen you use. But yeah, minimal bleed through here. As for the Moleskine, Not a ton of feathering. Again, fountain pen and the Energel there, but way more bleed through on the back. Even with the other pen, it is a little thinner, but it's just smoother and nicer paper. I think it's easier to write on, in my opinion, and it makes me want to pick this up more. So yeah, and price wise, obviously they're very similar notebooks. This Amazon Basics, I think right now for the grid version is $10, and for the grid, or I think they call it a squared version, is $15. So it's not a huge price difference, but you know, $5 is $5. So I think to answer the question, which one should you buy? It depends on what it's for, in my opinion. I think this is the better overall notebook. I prefer this one. I wasn't super happy with this. This Amazon one doesn't make me want to pick it up and write in it. But I think it depends on what you're using it for. This one I'm going to keep. I like this. I've used this every day. This book will never get thrown away. I shouldn't say that. Will probably never get thrown away. It means something to me. This one doesn't. I don't really care if this one disappears. So why would I spend the extra $5 when the job is done just as well? It's good enough for this purpose. So I think it depends. It depends on who you are and what you want out of them. I do think the Moleskine is worth the extra $5, but this is not a bad option for anyone. If you want to save some money and just depending on what you're looking for. So yeah, so just a quick breakdown on some of these notebooks that I use. Let me know if you want to see any other notebook reviews. I got a few other ones. I got one from Costco sitting here that I use for YouTube. And I got a Leuchtturm in here that I haven't really talked about yet. Got another Amazon here. So let me know if you want to see anything else about notebooks. And let me know which one you guys prefer, if you guys have any experience with these and have any opinions on them. So yeah, I appreciate you guys watching, and we'll catch you on the next one. Peace.